Wade Wilson's chilling downfall. Wade Wilson has done what most people have nightmares about. He was sentenced to death for the murder of 2 women despite an emotional plea from his parents. What brought on his brutal actions? What is his story? Could it have been prevented? How did this happen? The courtroom was silent. The air was thick with anticipation. Wade Wilson, the man accused of 2 horrific murders, stood emotionless in the defendant's chair. His face, a canvas of disturbing tattoos, betrayed no sign of remorse. After weeks of testimony and gruesome evidence, the jury had reached a decision: guilty. A collective gasp filled the courtroom as the verdict was read. Wilson's fate now rested in the hands of Judge Thompson, who would decide whether he would spend the rest of his life behind bars or face the ultimate punishment, death. The story of Wade Wilson's descent into violence shocked the community of Cape Coral, Florida. This peaceful town, known for its sunny weather and friendly residents, was suddenly thrust into the national spotlight. The tranquility of the neighborhood was shattered, leaving residents in a state of fear and disbelief. The once serene streets were now filled with whispers and speculations about the gruesome events that had unfolded. It began with the disappearance of Christine Melton, a beloved local bartender known for her infectious laugh and kind heart. Christine was a fixture in the community, always ready with a smile and a kind word for her patrons. Her sudden disappearance left a void in the hearts of many. Friends and family frantically searched for her, plastering missing person posters all over town, hoping for any clue that might lead to her safe return. The community rallied together, holding candlelight vigils and prayer meetings, clinging to the hope that Christine would be found alive. Her lifeless body was found in her apartment, the victim of a brutal strangulation. The discovery sent shockwaves through the town. The crime scene was a grim reminder of the violence that had invaded their peaceful community. Police worked tirelessly, combing through evidence and interviewing potential witnesses, determined to bring Christine's killer to justice. The brutality of the crime left many in the community feeling vulnerable and afraid, wondering if the killer was someone they knew. Days later, the body of Diane Ruiz, a young mother walking home from work, was discovered dumped on a deserted road. Diane was a hard-working, single mother, doing her best to provide for her young child. Her murder was a devastating blow to the community, compounding the fear and grief that had already taken hold. The fact that she was attacked while simply walking home from work made the crime even more terrifying. It was a stark reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows, even in a seemingly safe town like Cape Coral. She too had been strangled. The similarities between the 2 murders were undeniable, leading police to believe they were dealing with a serial killer. The community was on edge, with many residents taking extra precautions to ensure their safety. Self-defense classes saw a surge in attendance, and sales of home security systems skyrocketed. The fear of another attack loomed large, casting a dark shadow over the town. The killer had left behind a trail of clues, but it was a chance encounter with a witness that led police to their suspect, Wade Wilson. The witness had seen Wilson acting suspiciously near one of the crime scenes and provided a detailed description to the authorities. This crucial piece of information allowed the police to zero in on Wilson, leading to his eventual arrest. As the news of his capture spread, the community breathed a collective sigh of relief. However, the scars left by his brutal crimes would take much longer to heal. The story of Wade Wilson serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, even in the most seemingly idyllic places. The prosecution presented a damning case against Wade Wilson. They painted a picture of a cold-blooded killer who preyed on innocent women. Witnesses testified to seeing Wilson with both victims in the hours leading up to their deaths. Security footage captured him driving Melton's car after her disappearance. Perhaps most chilling was the DNA evidence. Wilson's blood was found at both crime scenes. The prosecution argued that the evidence was overwhelming, Wade Wilson was a monster who deserved to die for his crimes. The defense team faced an uphill battle. They acknowledged the brutality of the crimes but argued that Wade Wilson was not a monster but a deeply troubled man. They presented evidence of his history of mental illness, his struggles with addiction, and a childhood marked by abuse and neglect. They called expert witnesses who testified that Wilson's mental state at the time of the murders was so impaired that he was incapable of understanding the consequences of his actions. They pleaded with the jury to show mercy and spare his life. The Wade Wilson trial captivated the nation. The gruesome details of the murders and the disturbing images of Wilson's tattooed face filled newspapers and television screens. The case sparked a heated debate about the death penalty, with some demanding swift justice, and others urging compassion for a man they believed was mentally ill. Outside the courthouse, protesters gathered, holding signs with messages of both condemnation and mercy. The judge received countless letters, some filled with anger and disgust, others pleading for Wilson's life to be spared. The families of Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz were forced to endure the unimaginable, listening to the gruesome details of their loved ones' murders. They had to sit through the harrowing recounting of events, each word a dagger to their hearts, and facing the man accused of taking them away. In heartbreaking testimony, they spoke of their loss, their pain, and the gaping hole left in their lives. Each family member took the stand, their voices trembling with emotion, recounting the moments they shared with Christine and Diane. They described the vibrant lives that were so cruelly cut short, the laughter that once filled their homes, now replaced with an unbearable silence. The gaping hole left in their lives was not just a metaphor, but a daily reality they had to face. They shared stories of the victims' kindness, their laughter, and the dreams that would now never be realized. Christine was known for her infectious smile and her passion for helping others. Diane had dreams of traveling the world, dreams that were now forever unfulfilled. Family members brought photos and mementos to the courtroom, holding on to the tangible memories of their loved ones. They reminisced about the good times, the holidays spent together, the milestones celebrated, and the simple, everyday moments that now held so much more significance. Their words were a powerful reminder of the human cost of violence. The tears shed in the courtroom were not just for the lives lost, but for the future stolen, the birthdays that would go uncelebrated, and the empty chairs at family gatherings. The ripple effect of these horrific crimes extended far beyond the immediate victims. Friends, neighbors, and entire communities felt the impact. The courtroom was filled with emotional reactions, each tear and sob a testament to the far-reaching consequences of such senseless violence. Outside the courtroom, the community gathered in solidarity, holding vigils and offering support to the grieving families. Candles were lit in memory of Christine and Diane, their flames flickering in the night as a symbol of hope and remembrance. Support groups formed, providing a space for those affected to share their grief and find comfort in one another. The strength and resilience of the community shone through, even in the darkest of times. Courtroom sketch artists captured the raw emotion of the trial, their drawings depicting the pain and sorrow etched on the faces of the victims' families. These sketches served as a poignant reminder of the human stories behind the headlines. As the trial came to a close, family members left the courtroom, their hearts heavy with the weight of their loss. They embraced one another, finding solace in their shared grief and the support of their community. Memorial services were held, where friends and family gathered to celebrate the lives of Christine and Diane. Flowers and tributes adorned the space, each one a testament to the love and impact these women had on those around them. Visits to the grave sites became a regular ritual, a place for family members to reflect and remember. They placed flowers and shared moments of quiet reflection, keeping the memory of their loved ones alive in their hearts. The community rallied together, calling for justice and advocating for change. They held signs and marched in solidarity, their voices united in a demand for a safer, more just world. The trial may have ended, but the journey for the victims' families continued. They left the courthouse with a mix of emotions, carrying the memories of Christine and Diane with them as they navigated the path ahead. As the sun set over the courthouse, it symbolized the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. The families of Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz faced an uncertain future, but their strength and resilience shone through, a beacon of hope in the face of unimaginable loss. The courtroom fell silent as Judge Thompson prepared to deliver Wade Wilson's sentence. The tension was palpable. After summarizing the evidence and acknowledging the arguments presented by both sides, Judge Thompson spoke of the gravity of the crimes and the lasting impact on the victims' families. He acknowledged Wilson's troubled past and his mental health challenges, but ultimately concluded that these factors did not excuse his actions. In a firm voice, he sentenced Wade Wilson to death. Wade Wilson was transported to death row, where he would spend the rest of his days awaiting execution. He became a number in the system, stripped of his name and his humanity. He lived in a small cell, allowed limited contact with the outside world. His days were monotonous, filled with the crushing weight of his crimes and the knowledge that his time was running out. Appeals were filed, but none were successful. The clock continued to tick. The death penalty, also known as capital punishment, has been a contentious issue for decades, sparking intense debates and dividing public opinion. It raises profound moral and ethical questions that challenge our views on justice, retribution, and human rights. The Wade Wilson case reignited the debate about the death penalty in America. This high-profile case brought the issue back into the national spotlight, forcing people to confront their beliefs and the implications of such a severe form of punishment. Supporters argued that it was a just punishment for the most heinous crimes, believing that certain actions are so egregious that they warrant the ultimate penalty. They see it as a necessary tool to maintain order and justice in society. They also claim it serves as a deterrent to future violence, suggesting that the fear of facing the death penalty might prevent potential criminals from committing serious offenses. This perspective is rooted in the belief that harsh penalties can reduce crime rates. Additionally, supporters argue that it offers closure to victims' families, providing a sense of justice and finality. For many, the death penalty is seen as a way to honor the memory of the victims and ensure that their suffering is acknowledged. Opponents countered that it was a barbaric practice, applied unfairly and inconsistent with modern values of human rights and dignity. They argue that the death penalty is an outdated form of punishment that has no place in a civilized society. Critics also highlight the systemic issues within the criminal justice system, pointing out that the death penalty does nothing to address the root causes of crime, such as poverty, lack of education, and social inequality. They believe that focusing on prevention and rehabilitation would be more effective in reducing crime. They pointed to the possibility of wrongful convictions, emphasizing that the irreversible nature of the death penalty means that an innocent person could be executed. This risk, they argue, is too great to justify the continuation of capital punishment. Furthermore, opponents cite studies and statistics that show the lack of evidence that the death penalty actually deters crime. They argue that other factors, such as effective law enforcement and social programs, play a more significant role in preventing crime. The debate raged on with no easy answers. Both sides present compelling arguments, and the issue remains deeply divisive. As society continues to evolve, the conversation about the death penalty will likely persist, challenging us to reflect on our values and the kind of justice system we want to uphold. A reminder of the human cost of violence. The case of Wade Wilson left an indelible mark on the community of Cape Coral and beyond. It served as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of violence, the complexities of mental illness, and the flaws in a criminal justice system struggling to balance punishment with rehabilitation. In the end, it was a story of loss, the loss of 2 innocent lives, the loss of a family torn apart by grief, and the loss of a man consumed by his own demons. What do you think about Wade Wilson's video? Let us know in the comments section. If you liked the video, like, share, and subscribe. Also, click on one of the above videos. I am sure you will like it.